Is it ever really the fault of the dice? That's what I wanted to explore in this mailbag vlog, because we've all played games where we conveniently blame the dice. It could be because of tactics. It's often because of tactics or an unrealistic expectation. Like, I need to roll something legendary to save my unit. It's never going to happen. I shouldn't have even been there in the first place, but I need, a 12 on a D12 to make this happen. Okay, 1 in 12, maybe. Most likely not. I roll a D12, I get a 6, I blame the dice. Well, the odds were not in my favor. But there are times, and we're putting aside the individual for a moment, there are times where if I look at dice rolls over the course of a game, I'm rolling below average, or things don't seem to be working out in my favor. There are times when the dice kind of turned against you, and that's, well, you know what? That's wargaming. That's where we are. Now, on the opposite side, there have been times where there's a couple of friends of mine, wargamers. They're fantastic wargamers, tabletop generals, tacticians, absolutely. So what I'm about to say does not take away from that. But two good friends in general, they are the luckiest dice rollers I have ever seen. It's like a natural magnetism, a natural charisma going on there. It's when we play doubles tournaments and they're on my team. If there's any roll for mission or roll for map and we need it, I'm like, my man, you are handling the dice rolls because you're just on fire. So I think there is some interaction in the person. But then, and we're looking at them right now on this splash screen, but then there are times where something is up with these dice. Something is not right with these dice. And the dice we're looking at here, and this opens in today's vlog, as a wargamer, as a RPG enthusiast, as a board gamer, do you believe, for whatever reason, I guess it's the manufacturing process, do you believe that just certain dice are cursed and you should get rid of them? Now, this set of dice that we're looking at here, this is like a legitimate known in my local D&D circle here. These are like cursed dice, and the running gag, but it's not a gag because you're not a believer till you sit down with these dice. We will pass these dice to someone to use and be like, these are cursed. And they'll play with them two or three, 4 games, 4 adventures. And they will be like, these are the absolute worst dice you have ever seen. Just the D20 doesn't seem to want to roll higher than a 5. You can't even force a 20. You can't even like trick hand, sleight of hand, plus 20 before I roll it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even want to roll 20s. It doesn't even want to roll 15s. The D8 is insane. It's always 1s and 2s. The D6 is kind of okay with 3s. It's the D10 might as well be a D4. It doesn't go over any higher. And these dice are not, they're not trick dice. It's a legitimate set of dice. We bought a couple of batches of retro dice, and the other ones roll okay. So it's not like these are specifically out of the package trick dice. Or it's not like we cooked them or drilled them or did something as a joke. I don't know. Was the mold turned upside down and they dried on the low end of the numbers? These dice are insane. And I was using them for a while because we were playing Dragonlance, kind of going back to that AD&D feel. And I wanted to get some classic dice like back in the day and get the dice, start rolling them. Awful. Just awful rolls. So I thought it was the adventure. I mean, it's low-level AD&D. It's very difficult, very challenging, but the dice are awful. And I noticed them. Got so bad, a friend didn't believe me. He picked them up. He's rolling them awful. They're just not working. Toss the dice out, right? Literally toss the dice out. I had enough, and I've never thrown out dice before. I haven't. Maybe they'll go into the communal pool, or I'll put them in the giant, bag of holding, dice bag that every D&D player has. But these, I was like, they are out. They're done. Tossed them tossed them in the trash at the store. Somebody pulled them out and was like, yo, Fritz, I found your dice. And I'm like, I can't get rid of these things. So then I made up a character and I played through a campaign using these dice. They were so unlucky. The dice and the character got banned from the party. They were like, we're not going to touch these dice. So now they've got a life of their own. And enough people have witnessed it that it's not in the mind. It's not tricknology. It's not, I need to make an impossible roll. No, they're just awful. They don't roll higher than 5s. It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. So now, as a reward, we pass them to certain people every now and then. And around the club, around the gaming group, they are the cursed dice. You cannot get rid of them. You must use them until you can find another unsuspecting soul to take these dice. Usually people don't believe it. New D&D players to the group don't believe the hype. And we're like, just use these dice. So I turn that over as a mailbag. These interesting things that aren't quite hobby or aren't quite tactics, kind of gaming culture, gaming experience. Truly, have you ever had a pair of dice that are so bad? It is the dice. It's not your lack of tactics. It's not your lack of vision. It's not just impossible rolls. Truly, the dice are awful. Have you had a set like that? What gaming system, out of curiosity, and what happened to those dice?